therapist and I tell jokes. We both want to help all kinds of folks.
Hello, and welcome to My Sister's a Therapist. This is a podcast that we've been doing for going up on 3 years. And it's a podcast between two sisters, one of whom is a comedian, which is me, and one of whom is an award-winning psychotherapist.
Hello, I'm Laura Ryan. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, but my main credit is sister to Jolly Jester, Virginia Jones.
Every week, we take turns preparing a topic to discuss. And these are sometimes from TikTok, and they're sometimes from life, from pop culture, what's going on in the news. And they're sometimes just things that I wonder about.
Sometimes there are things that I wonder about too.
Laura doesn't wonder about anything.
No, I've stopped wondering.
If it's a therapy thing, it's something that I don't present to you. I presume you know something about it, but I have been wondering about it.
I see. Got it.
This week, it's my turn to have all the answers. Laura's got the dunce cap, just like the kids in the Blair Witch movie.
I haven't seen that, but that's me in the corner.
That's me in the dunce cap. REM, please don't sue us. This has been used for satirical purposes. So this week, I would like to talk about something that happened to me recently that I am not proud of. I was going to a concert and I need to buy a parking pass at this venue. I Googled Human League, Marry More Live. It took me to a website that said Marry More Live. There was a thing that said parking and I clicked it and it took me to a scam website. Also, parking was insanely expensive. It was $85 when I had paid $100 for the ticket. Part of my brain said, this is wrong. This seems too high. But then it said few passes remaining. I panicked, bought an $85 ticket that didn't exist. You can contact the website. And I said, hey, I've been scammed by you guys.
I want to be unscammed.
I want to unscam this. I want to cancel it. And they said, sorry, it's our policy not to give refunds because they're a scam. Oh, that's cool. So it's just your policy?
The only reason we exist is to scam you. So we're not going to refund our scam money. What are you, nuts?
I felt like a real goober. I wanted to talk about common scams and why we are susceptible to them.
You mentioned in a previous episode, 50-50, how you get this message about concert tickets are running out. You get them, but then there's only 12 people at the concert. You fell for it again with parking.
There's a lot of scams that I haven't fallen for. There's one where someone calls you on your phone and they say, I'm from the sheriff's department. If you don't pay this, we're going to come arrest you at work. And I said, okay, what is this for? And they said, this is for not showing up for jury duty. I know I wasn't called for jury duty.
Did you say, I know my rights like a white woman?
I know my rights. But I also said, I know this is not how the justice system works. If the police are mad at me, they will send me a strongly worded letter that I need to send them some money. Also, it's totally separate from jury duty. You're not going to show up at my work. I just told the person that they were a scammer until they hung up on me. I'm not going to be scammed by some fast-talking flimflam man. Our mom, only a couple months ago, was victim, and people will be victimized, and older people will be victimized. Someone called her and said that her identity had been stolen. They could fix it, but they needed just a butt ton of Sephora cards.
That's how they were going to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let everyone know when someone asks for gift cards for payment, it's probably a scam. There was actually a whole movie about this particular thing because there's been a scam to the elderly. You get a phone call from your grandson and he's been in an accident. He needs money immediately because all of these things have happened. So this woman in the movie gets taken by it and then she hunts the man down and finds him. It's like the ultimate elderly white woman revenge story, which there aren't many. We need more.
I love that. My mother, and bless the woman at the bank, because my mother got into an Uber and Laura pays for her ride share so she can see when mom goes somewhere. And mom never goes anywhere. So she called her and said, Mom, where are you going? And mom said, it's a secret and I can't tell you. I've been sworn to secrecy, but I'll tell you later. And Laura said, well, that's very sus. But she showed up at the bank and said, I need $7,000. And the lady at the bank, God bless you, unnamed lady, said, what do you need the money for? And mom said, I need to buy you Sephora gift cards. And the lady said, no, you don't. You are being scammed. All kinds of people fall for scams, Laura.
Many years ago, my ex-husband actually fell for a scam and it cost me because he didn't have any money.
Right.
I think it was $5,000.
Amazing.
Yeah. It was a caller who contacted him and said, I would like to do hypnosis because he had decided he was going to take on my business. I want to pay ahead for 20 sessions for my son. Mm-hmm. We get a check in the mail. And I said, bro, this doesn't feel right.
This is not usually how it goes.
Right. But if the check clears, then I guess we're okay. Mm-hmm. The check did clear. Then I found out after the fact that Wells Fargo lets your check clear even if it's not a good check. And then you find out 2 weeks later. So part 2 of the scam is you get a call from the person and they say, oh, I sent you too much. Go to Western Union and send me cash. And that's what we did. And then I lost a bunch of money.
This is the Nigerian prince scam.
Yes. Someone tried to do it to me again recently. And I said, I'm not comfortable accepting checks. I need you to either show up in person with cash or give me your credit card number. And that person stopped calling me.
One time when I was driving rideshare, I got a scam. It was, you get a call saying, we need to confirm you are who you say you are. I'm calling you on the phone. I'm going to send a message to your account and you need to click it. And that gave someone else access to my account. So anytime I made money, they would just pull it out. That was cool. And I had to shut down my account and tell Lyft that I'd messed up.
And they said, don't worry, this has happened to 500 drivers.
Right. This has happened 1,000 times in the last week. Eventually they got my account cleaned up, but it took some time. I was calling their help desk for like the millionth time. And the guy said to me in not a very patient way, well, you need to not click links that are not from us.
Thanks a lot.
I did have someone call me to run the scam again. Then I was much wiser. And I said, dude, you're not calling from Lyft because 1, Lyft doesn't call me. 2, I can hear your dog barking in the background. This is unprofessional. Make a professional environment. So I started thinking about scams, what makes us fall for them, and what's the mentality of scammers.
I'm going to give you the quick answer. They're usually broke as hell. And sometimes sociopath.
Sociopath is the correct answer. You are correct.
Also desperation,
Yeah.
right? Because we're not getting calls from
Right.
hoity-toity places in California.
Bernie Madoff, exception to the rule.
Okay, Bernie Madoff. When we talk about these low-level scammers, these are generally folks in the global south who don't have a lot of access to resources.
I think the most famous scam is the Ponzi scheme, and it's still running today. Pyramid scheme is another name for
What's
it.
that named after? Do you have that?
Charles Ponzi.
A guy named Charles.
It figures that it's an Italian.
You know what they're like.
We are partially Italian.
We are 1/16 Italian, so we have a right to talk about this.
Carlo Pietro Giovanni Guglielmo Talbotto Ponzi, because he really just wanted to double down on being Italian.
I'm the most Italian you'll ever meet.
In 1919, he discovered a legitimate financial loophole involving international postal reply coupons. If you were sending a letter with a stamp, you could get a discounted coupon so your friend could reply. You could buy those cheaply in one country and exchange them for higher value stamps in another country. A small margin of profit, but consistent. He began promising lenders he could double their investments in 90 days. But the logistics of actually buying, transporting, and exchanging millions of physical coupons proved impossible. Instead of doing any actual trading, he used the cash himself from newer investors to pay off the older investors. So the actual work part became too worky.
Most of the time, what you're going to find is people who are scammers and liars, they're also lazy.
He amassed $15 million in 8 months before he was exposed in August 1920. Even though the scheme is named after him, this kind of scheme had been done before. Charles Dickens described similar scams in his 19th century novels Martin Chuzzlewit and Little Dorrit.
I thought you were going to say Charles Dickens ran a scheme.
Charles Dickens did
He
run
was
a
a
scam.
dirtbag, but he didn't run a scheme.
No. He ran a scam where he said to magazines, I'll sell you a book, but I'm going to do it one chapter at a time. I'm going to do the slow burn.
Well, he actually did run a scam against his wife where he took on a new girlfriend.
The oldest scam in the book. 2 women have done this scam. Sarah
Nice.
Howe in the 1880s, she operated the ladies' deposit, promising female clients a huge interest rate on their investments. She just took their money and gave it to other people and then got new money from other people.
So that's women for women.
Yeah. His name became associated with it just because of the sheer speed with which he amassed the money. The same scheme was Bernie Madoff, who defrauded investors out of $65 million before his arrest in 2008. When we talk about Charles Ponzi's mental state, people do say sociopath, antisocial. Scholars now think he had something called delusional optimism. Rather than suffering from a psychosis, he may have exhibited a form of delusional thinking of extreme overconfidence. And I guess the first couple times you do this scam and you just have hot cash in your hand, well, it's never going to stop. And I am going to be able to pay this money off.
Have you ever heard of the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? It's where all of the secret stuff comes from. And I just listened to another podcast, If Books Could Kill. He was a small-time scammer and he ran all these scams and then he ran out of scams. So he wrote Think and Grow Rich and he became rich when he released the book. He probably had the same thing that other guy had.
At some point, he thought, I can outrun this scam. I can make so much money that everyone will get paid. It just got away from him. The thing that makes The Secret, I think, compelling is that there is something to it. If you only think negative thoughts and only have negative expectations and think that nothing's ever going to work, nothing's ever going to work. You have to at some point believe in yourself and have the confidence to take action. That being said, just thinking something doesn't make it happen.
I think it's just delusional optimism. If you want to hear more about my thoughts about The Secret, refer back to our manifesting episode. What Virginia didn't tell you is that we're almost at 150 episodes. So if you're bored, you have a lot of time on your hands, and you really want to get into this podcast, we got a lot of material.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Also, if you like what you're hearing right now and you want to tell everyone else, get on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or YouTube and tell the world.
Charles Ponzi, one fun thing he did was he faked mental illness to get out of trouble. Early in his life, he was arrested in Canada for forging a check. He attempted to avoid punishment by chewing a towel to shreds and wildly climbing a wall to simulate insanity. After the Ponzi scheme scam, he got in trouble doing fraudulent real estate in Florida, faked his own suicide in Jacksonville. During an early stint in Atlanta prison, he befriended someone named Charles W. Morse, a wealthy speculator who famously fooled prison doctors into releasing him early by eating soap shavings to mimic severe ill health.
So we're eating soap and towels and seeing what happens.
You know, he's willing to do it. A very famous scam now that your husband fell prey to is the Nigerian prince that used to be called the Spanish prisoner, or the Jerusalem letters scam. Spanish Prisoner is a David Mamet film starring Steve Martin. Victims receive a letter or email promising a huge payout. There's a trapped royal fortune. There's an inheritance. There's a government contract. There's someone who wants to prepay for a lot of hypnosis if they pay a series of smaller upfront legal or administrative fees. This scam traces its roots to the late 18th century. Swindlers wrote letters claiming a wealthy aristocrat was wrongfully imprisoned in Spain or France and needed bribe money to free his hidden fortune. The scam was modernized in the 80s via fax, using Nigeria's rapidly shifting economic landscape as a backdrop. For a while, my friends on Facebook would go, I got this weird email. They're a big fan of my Instagram. They're not. I'm sorry. You're going to give them a number. They're going to send you twice the number, and then they're going to ask you to send half that money back. That's when you get scammed.
He said, this happened to my sister. When I spoke to the police about the situation, I said, well, what can you guys do? Absolutely nothing, bro. And I said, I don't understand. Why did my husband get picked? And they said, they're looking for very greedy people.
The Nigerian prince scam, as the great Mike Skinner from the streets said,
Knock down your Ariel.
You can't con an honest John. If you got a call that said, there's this fortune that you're going to get, that's not my fortune to have. I'm not legitimately royalty or related to the person in question.
Speaking of the Nigerian prince scam, there's a really good book that I've mentioned on the podcast before called Yes Man. This guy basically spends a year saying yes to everything. And so he gets approached for the Nigerian prince scam, and they say that the prince is in Spain. He says, okay, well, I'm heading to Spain. So he flew to Spain because I think he thought this will make a good story for my book. Spoiler alert, the prince wasn't there.
No. And they didn't want him to go to Spain. I did do that for a year. I said yes to everything, but no one asked me to go to Spain. It was post-divorce. I just need to have more opportunities.
He said yes to, if your friend said, let's have another round, he would say, okay. What he found from doing this is that he created tons of opportunities, got a new job, found a girlfriend, had all these adventures.
It's a good thing to do. You at least should not default to no.
Yeah. And I think that's what he learned because he had been defaulting to no.
Another popular scam is the pump and dump.
It happens when you're breastfeeding and you drink too much and you don't want your baby to get sick or have brain damage. So you just dump it.
In stock manipulation, it's like that, but you buy a cheap stock and then you spread rumors or get something put in the paper to pump the price up. You'll buy a penny stock and then release a story or have a celebrity promote it. This is what all of the cryptocurrencies are. You buy a cryptocurrency and then you maybe have bought it because there's a OnlyFans model or an influencer or a manosphere person telling you the only reason these cryptocurrencies get worthwhile is that other people are buying them. I owned some crypto for about 8 months, and that was my experience.
Your own president is selling this stuff. Speaking of scammers,
The only reason they would go up in value is that everybody was saying ape go to the moon. And then everybody was like, oh, maybe I should buy the Bored Ape crypto.
Ape go to the moon?
Mine was the Shiba Inu crypto. And anytime Elon Musk talked about his dog, it would go up. He's doing secret messages about this Shiba Inu crypto. I made enough money to buy myself something nice, and then I got out.
What was the nice thing?
I bought myself a Gucci purse. Thank you for asking.
Nice.
In stocks, the tactics go back to 1720, the South Sea Bubble. Infamous modern pioneer was Jordan Belfort. In the early 1990s, he weaponized aggressive boiler room call centers to artificially manipulate penny stocks, an exploit later adapted into the film The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, that was a rough one.
The people who cornered the silver market later adapted into our favorite film, Trading Places.
I still don't understand the main plot points of Trading Places. I just like to quote it a lot. I've watched that so many times. What is happening? Something about orange juice. I'm not sure. Frozen concentrated orange juice.
The real scam was to corner, I believe it was the silver market. But basically, when you're buying stuff on the floor, you're buying the opportunity to buy the shares. So you're not actually buying the shares. The shares go from high value to low value. You can buy them low, then they pump up.
And then you sell high.
And then you sell high, and then they drop, and then no one else has any.
And that's why at the end of the movie, the Dukes brothers are screaming, sell, sell, sell.
Sell, you idiot. And then later they become homeless. And Eddie Murphy gives them some money in Coming to America, and they don't recognize that he's the same guy. And they say, Mortimer, we're back. But the truth is that two men of their age would not survive for very long on the street.
Technically also, he wasn't the same man.
No, he was a different man.
In this movie, he was an African prince. If you're interested in the films of Eddie Murphy, we could talk for days about that.
He could be a real Nigerian prince. He could be doing the Nigerian prince scam in the film Coming to America. The Sell the Eiffel Tower con, which is the false owner scams.
Donald Trump does this one a lot.
Yes. The con artist poses as an official or landlord to sell or lease a famous public landmark or piece of real estate they do not own. The inventor was one guy, Victor Lustig. In 1925, he posed as a French government official and successfully sold the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal to a wealthy dealer.
Just once?
He actually did it twice. He managed to collect both the purchase price and a massive bribe, fleeing the country before the buyer realized that he had been conned. Victor Lustig is a fun person to talk about. He was never clinically diagnosed, but people observing his historical stuff, a 1902 school report described him as retarded morally and an idiot in other respects.
I feel like this is my diagnosis right off the page.
And yes, psychopath has been said about him.
You have to be. You have to have no shame and no guilt. You have to act like everything's fine. And if you have any sort of moral compass at all, you wouldn't be able to do that.
We talked about it before. When I have periods of high pressure where I need to keep a secret or withhold something, it puts me under immense strain. It's very normal. I'm quitting my job and I can't let people know I'm quitting my job, or I'm leaving my apartment and I can't let them know yet. You have to be a special kind of animal to be able to just tamp down that feeling.
Because secrets make normal people sick. Refer back to our secrets episode.
While serving a 20-year sentence at Alcatraz, Lustig flooded the prison staff with more than 1,000 medical complaints.
Oh my God. You have to admire his consistency.
He famously wrote a list of rules for con men, advising them to use deception to their advantage. Guards initially dismissed his complaints as a form of severe hypochondria. On the Bernie Madoff tip, the corporate psychopath is a particular type. In 2023, a definitive study published in the International Journal of Market Research evaluated Madoff's behavior, including the Comprehensive Assessment of Psychopathic Personality, the CAPP. They called him a corporate psychopath, matching 100% of the criteria. Some of the elements included superficial charm. He cultivated an elite, calm, and highly trustworthy persona to attract wealthy investors and to evade scrutiny. Absolute lack of remorse. While serving his 150-year sentence, prison reports indicated his ego remained entirely intact. He expressed severe coldness towards his victims, famously uttering, "F my victims," while incarcerated. Just F them.
There's a really good book called Women, Food, and God. Her whole thing is about the emotional relationship and spiritual relationship between food, and she lost all of her money to Bernie Madoff.
Oh, God. Because rich people can never be too rich. Unlike a lot of scammers who target middle class, lower middle class, so many of them are from people who have no money on people who have no money.
Right. You target the poor.
And that was what really made me mad about the rideshare one. They call you and say, we're going to turn off your account. do it. I dare you to do it. But there's a lot of people so desperate, they wouldn't even be able to.
So with the Nigerian prince scam, it does target greedy people. I think a lot of these other scams, like calling the grandma and saying that the child needs money, it's targeting fear.
Right.
That's a very powerful thing.
Madoff was finding rich people who wanted to be richer. And emotional shallowness. He maintained a completely detached demeanor while actively destroying the life savings of thousands of clients, charities, and even close friends. A lot of people lost a lot of money.
The story that I make about Bernie Madoff is that he compartmentalized. Well, got to pay for this boat.
Right. This is how I get to this. And I want this so I can go lie to these people.
It's like being a shark in real life.
A human shark.
Bernie Madoff, human shark. We need to make t-shirts.
Also, antisocial personality disorder. Mental health professionals note that he aligns perfectly with ASPD. Individuals can mimic warmth and sincerity by operating completely devoid of conscience or regard for the law. Someone we've talked about before, I guess her scam would be the Eiffel Tower scam, Elizabeth Holmes, who
is the one who takes the blood.
She claimed that she had a system where you could do extensive testing from a single drop of blood. And that's great.
It is great if it works.
I've been doing blood tests and they take so much blood. I asked the nurse before we started, I'm like, that's weird. How come it's 2 visits to take blood? Because no one can give us this much blood. Continue to live their life.
How gross.
Right. And there's been a lot of print about her and what's wrong with her. She has no public record of a formal mental illness.
The story that I make about Elizabeth Holmes is she really thought she could do it. She had delusional optimism because she really was fully convinced that she could do this. She just needed more time.
The criminal defense, her lawyers wanted to use intimate partner abuse because her former boyfriend and the Theranos COO, Sunny Balwani, subjected her to a decade of psychological, emotional, and sexual abuse.
Really?
She was manipulated by him. That's the thing that I think people are attracted to or sympathetic for. She believed that it was going to work. And that's what made her such an effective scamster.
Because she wasn't lying.
She wasn't lying. She believed in her heart.
I've never heard about the abuse. They don't cover that in the biopic.
Because it's just more fun to talk about this crazy lady.
Have you heard? All women are crazy.
That's right. Her attorneys argued this relationship created a mental health condition bearing on guilt, causing her to defer blindly to his control and genuinely believe the technology was working. Unfortunately, they never formed a clinical diagnosis, and she was found guilty on 4 counts of wire fraud.
Wire fraud is always the thing that'll get you.
Armchair diagnoses of Elizabeth Holmes include sociopathy and antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and also autism spectrum disorder.
I'm going to say 100% on that one. If you want to hear more about that, you should listen to our episode. Is everybody autistic? Short answer, yes.
Commentators and neurodiversity advocates have wondered if her flat affect, awkward social cues, and intense hyperfocus on her work were indicative of undiagnosed autism.
And also trying to be Steve Jobs, another autistic person.
The cosplay of Steve Jobs and also the voice. I think that was very intentional to be taken more seriously.
Absolutely. If you watch the movie, she is practicing it.
Another autistic person, Sam Bankman-Fried, who lost a lot of money for a lot of people through his fraudulent business, also has depression and ADHD. Sociopathy is the big picture. Antisocial personality disorder. He knew what was happening and did not care.
Sam Altman, CEO of ChatGPT, a lot of people are saying that he also has antisocial personality disorder and is a sociopath.
There's a lot of high-ranking businessmen who are sociopaths. It works very well.
Like peanut butter and jelly.
If you don't care what happens to the people who work for you, the people who buy your product, to people, it really frees you up to do all kinds of stuff.
You can make a lot of interesting decisions.
So, Laura, how do people victimize other people with scams? The scary thing about the one you say, getting a call from your grandchild who's been in an accident, one of the ideas is that if you use AI, if you say, give AI your voice so AI can make it sound like you, or make a video of your likeness, that can be used later against your friends and family who get a call from you that sounds just like you.
I thought about that after Sora shut down, because now Sora has access to my voice and my visual likeness.
That is literally how they get you.
I thought I was getting something free.
They give you a toy to play with, and all you have to give them is your face and your voice.
No big deal.
It's like in The Little Mermaid.
When you get on your Scrabble game and you see me selling tampons, just know it wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
I saw you macking in the corner.
They don't scam you because you're dumb. Maybe you are dumb. Maybe I'm dumb.
Sometimes you are dumb.
Sometimes we're all dumb.
No, just you.
They exploit universal flaws in how human brains process information. So you can bypass logical thinking by triggering specific psychological defense mechanisms and cognitive biases. The one you speak to is manufactured urgency and panic. Your brain cannot process logic and extreme emotion at the same time.
Right.
So if you create a crisis, your grandkid's in trouble, your identity has been stolen, police are coming to get you at your work, you can induce a state of high emotional arousal and you go into fight or flight. You can't do what in fight or flight? You can't process logic.
You can't think.
You can't think. One of the elements of my mom's scam that I know that people have fallen victim to is they wanted to keep her on the phone. You stop getting someone's voice in your ear, you think, it doesn't make any sense that someone who wants to steal my identity needs Sephora gift cards. That's a makeup store. As soon as the thing is quiet, that doesn't make any sense. If they keep you talking, it keeps you from thinking.
They say you must stay on the phone because we have to walk you through these 87 steps.
In The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
Never heard of it.
an alien is visiting the Earth, Ford Prefect, and he noticed that people talked a lot. He thought maybe if they stopped talking, brains would start working.
That makes sense. When it comes to the politicians in the United States, I would say big
Makes a
time.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anytime someone is trying to hurry you into something, these tickets are selling out. Your grandson is in trouble. Try to take a step back and take a breath. 2, the illusion of authority. People are conditioned to obey authority figures. I got a call from the police. They'll get a call from the IRS. Tech support executives, government agents, corporate CEOs use professional terminology and cite fake badge numbers. This capitalizes, Laura, on the Milgram effect, an experiment where individuals override their own judgment if directed by a perceived legitimate authority.
If you want to hear more about that, you should listen to our Obey episode. This episode is simply made to refer back to all of our other it's all connected.
It's all connected. Social proof and faux consensus. Human beings are social animals. In scams like investment fraud, cryptocurrency platforms, Ponzi schemes, fraudsters create artificial social proof. They present fake reviews, celebrity endorsements, paid actors claiming they've made millions.
Referring back to Napoleon Hill,
Mm.
he referenced Carnegie and talked about this experience he'd had with him and how he learned all this stuff. But it turns out he'd never met Carnegie, not even once, because he talked about meeting him after he died. These scams are harder now because you actually have to prove that you know people. You can't just make up stories. The person will say, "Excuse me, person on TikTok, I never said that."
But also, you can make an AI video of a famous person saying,
With my face.
absolutely should buy this crypto. My good friend, Laura Ryan, sold it to me.
But they're kind of greasy looking, so just be aware of that. I've been playing a lot of Scrabble. All of the Scrabble commercials are AI. I was watching one with my son last night where all these people are having the best time ever doing sports betting. It's a couple lovingly holding each other
We can do this sports betting That's so
together.
good.
This is bringing us together. This isn't destroying our family. Every person is kind of greasy.
On the illusion of authority and social proof, I used to work for a small company that was run by 2 millionaires. Everybody who posted on LinkedIn that they had started working for this company would get a spoof email from the boss. I got it when I first started working there, and it has her name on it. If you keep talking to them, they will eventually ask you to buy gift cards. I would have to tell people when they started working, you will get an email from the boss. Just know that she will never email you. She will only text you, call you, or chat you. She doesn't need gift cards. When she starts talking to you, just say, I don't have time to buy you gift cards. So this is an interesting one. The rule of reciprocity and the foot in the door technique. The rule of reciprocity dictates that if someone does a favor for you, you feel deeply obligated to return it. In romance crypto scams, which is called here pig butchering.
What?
In pig butchering scams or advanced fee fraud, scammers will first give the victim a small gift or free investment advice or let them withdraw a small profit. Once the victim feels indebted or comfortable, the scammer makes a much larger demand, which the victim finds harder to refuse. This works for you if you go to an interview or if you are meeting with someone and they offer you something small, a glass of water, a snack. Would you like to sit down? Always accept it, because when you create this reciprocity, they are more inclined to think positively of you. You've opened a channel between the two of you, a connection, of exchange. Romance scams are called pig butchering because of China. It was a regional fraud tactic targeting users on dating platforms in 2016. The direct Chinese phrase is sha zhu pan, which means killing pig plate.
Because the pig is the target or victim. Fattening the pig is the grooming phase, where they spend weeks or months building trust, romance, or friendship. And then the butchering is draining the victim's life savings through fraudulent cryptocurrency or investment platforms.
I have known people to fall victim tempted by romance scams. And guess what? It's usually men. Somebody on TikTok said, my mom genuinely thinks she's in a relationship with Johnny Depp.
I think she is too. I know I am. I'm just going to tell you this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Rufus Wainwright is following my account on TikTok from 3 separate Rufus Wainwright accounts.
Rufus loves you.
He likes me that much.
The sad thing is you get a sense on dating apps what you're probably going to attract.
It's dishwashers with tattooed necks.
And my friend is very attractive, but the picture was out of his league. Well, she's a model, but she's in South America right now. When she starts asking you for money, that's when you know it's a scam. No, we've been talking for a long time.
Refer to the Tinder swindler.
A couple months later, she told me it was her birthday and she needed me to send her a little money for wine. That's where it starts.
Just say, hey, I'm happy to send you a bottle of wine.
Why don't I come over and I'll bring some wine?
I'll visit you in Spain with your friend, the prince.
Beware of strangers offering you something, a little piece of advice, an introduction to someone, a little favor. On the one hand, if you're on the saying yes tactic, that can be good. But if you fall victim to reciprocity, you will feel compelled to
repay the favor, which I think is part of the Bernie Madoff thing. Mm-hmm. He was telling people, oh, I'm giving you all this money. Please tell your friends. Well, I want to help out Bernie, right? Because he's helping me so much.
And he was using social proof and faux consensus. He was using the illusion of authority. He was using reciprocity, isolation and secrecy to prevent external logic from ruining the scam, such as the banker telling you you do not need to buy Sephora gift cards. Fraudsters isolate their victims. They'll instruct the target to stay on the phone while driving to the bank, tell them not to speak to family members because the investigation is confidential, or warn them that bank tellers are, quote, part of the fraud. By cutting off the victim's real-world support network, the scammer ensures they remain victims' only source of information. Mother had been told all of those things. Don't tell your kids. Bank teller is not your friend. Don't tell anybody where you're going. Stay on the phone. And then our favorite, number 6, the sunk cost fallacy.
We made a whole episode about this very thing.
Once a victim realizes something might be wrong, scammers pivot to exploiting the sunk cost fallacy. If a victim has already sent $5,000, the scammer will claim the funds are frozen by customs and require just one more $1,000 fee to release the total amount. Because humans hate admitting a loss, victims will continue throwing good money after bad, desperately hoping to recover their initial investment. The reason that these are things that we've talked about is that these are common flaws in human logic, things we fall victim to all of the time. We just have to learn how to not fall victim to them and we'll never get scammed again. Won't that be nice?
That's going to be great.
I saw a good one on TikTok, speaking of losing your money. A woman and her fiance had been planning a wedding and they had a joint bank account that they were putting money into to plan for the wedding. He had also been on Tinder. He got a scam where they were threatening to expose him to his partner. In order to save their relationship, he had to give the scammer all of their wedding funds. He was operating from a place of guilt and fear of being exposed. And guess what? Their relationship ended.
I think he should have had that surgery where your adrenal glands are removed. Reference our episode, The Fear. Then you're not afraid of anything.
Laura, what are your final thoughts about how we get scammed and who's been scamming us?
I know I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We have old, dumb brains that don't work that good.
We're just monkeys that got a positive shake.
The story that I make up about why we are top of the food chain is just because we're vicious and brutal.
Survival of the fittest does not mean survival of the strongest. It means survival of the one who is built best to survive. It's not a dog-eat-dog world because dogs do not eat dogs.
I think we've had a couple of advantages. They're certainly not physical advantages. We don't have claws. We're not fast. We're good at being afraid and we're good at being shrewd and sneaky. Reference Christopher Columbus. He did a lot to harm because he didn't care about people. I think he was probably a sociopath. My final thoughts on Bernie Madoff. I saw an interview with his wife and it was so sad because she really didn't know.
She just knew he was bringing in the ducats.
Right. And she and her children thought, okay, we have a super successful dad and he's doing
business stuff.
And then they turn around and actually your dad's one of the worst people that ever lived because he harms rich people, which we don't want to do.
No, rich people are the real victims here.
I guess my final thoughts are Always take a minute to think things through. And I would say this in all things. A wise woman whose name I can't remember once said, when someone is trying to manipulate you, take a minute to think about it. Her favorite thing to say is, I need to talk to somebody about that. And that somebody was her. Always take a minute, take a beat to think things through. Don't jump into anything.
I think that's really wise in a lot of situations. When someone is calling me with something that sounds like a scam, I like to say, hey, this is getting really complicated. Will you send this to me in an email?
I do that with everybody who calls me. That's what I noticed when I did sales. In my training, they were like, get the person emotionally charged. You have to act then.
Create a scarcity mindset because sales is a scam.
Yeah. So when people are working with me, I will present them, this is the per appointment thing, and you get a discount if you do a lot of appointments. Then I offer them that and I sit back, and sometimes they'll say, well, do I need to make a decision today? And I say, no, you don't, because I'm not here to manipulate people. Right. And if you are a sociopath and you're listening to this podcast, I'm here to say that eventually you will be caught. I listened to this whole expose on Napoleon Hill, the scammer from the 1800s. He amassed his fortune with the book and all these other scams he was running. And eventually he was caught. He ended up in jail. He ended up penniless. Crime doesn't pay.
Well, when you're riding high, man,
it feels pretty good, I think.
When
I don't
you're
know.
Just taking in that money, take it in.
I don't commit a lot of crimes, so I'm not sure how that works. Don't scam people. And if you're getting scammed, take a minute to think about it. Virginia, what are your final thoughts on sociopathy and scamming?
I did want to read this Douglas Adams quote because I think it's so relevant and because I love Douglas Adams. One of the things Ford Prefect had always found hardest to understand about humans was their habit of continually stating the obvious. At first, Ford formed a theory to account for this human behavior. Some of the things they say that are very obvious in the book that's not in this quote is, well, it's nice weather we're having, or you're very tall. Douglas Adams himself was 6'6". It's something he'd heard a lot. If human beings don't keep exercising with their lips, he thought, their mouths seize up. After a few months' consideration and observation, he abandoned this theory in favor of a new one. If they don't keep on exercising their lips, he thinks, their brains start working. And that's, in this case, true. If you don't keep talking to the person, they get a moment to think for themselves to make a different decision than you want. I also wanted to point out, let's look at how many of these things Jeffrey Epstein operated with. The illusion of authority. I make a lot of money. I'm a successful businessman.
Also, I have friends in high places.
I can connect you with very rich and powerful people. I am a rich and powerful person. Reciprocity and the foot in the door technique. Would you like to speak to Salman Rushdie? He's at my parties. Would you like to make friends with Woody Allen? He's here. I can do these things for you. Isolation and secrecy. What we do here is secret, and you can't tell anybody about it, especially not the police.
Or your parent.
Out of 6 major strategies, he was using 3. An additional strategy, DARVO.
Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender.
Yes. My final thoughts are, take a minute, try not to lose your faith in human nature. But when someone is telling you something that feels too good to be true or feels too bad to be true, question it. Increasingly, as someone who talks a lot and who's always talked a lot, I think that taking a minute and letting people respond to you is very worthwhile. And you're going to find out a lot more than if you just kept talking about how fantastically interesting you are.
Also, that idea of sleeping on it, I think that's always a good idea. No matter what decision you're trying to make, I think it's always a good idea.
You and I have both done sales. One thing they tell you is if the person walks out the door, they are unlikely to come back and get the product.
And in my experience, that is not true. I actually have a product that's good.
I do think this when I'm in a store and I think this is really great. I need to get this thing. If I really want it, I'll come back tomorrow. And usually I don't, unless it's a pair of something that the Kardashian family has made.
Everyone's always trying to sell you some package. Everyone's always trying to upcharge you something. And whenever I'm in those scenarios, sometimes I pretend I have a husband. Say, oh, well, I need to talk to my husband about this.
The fictional husband is a great
one.
He
works great because they can't fight me on it.
I really need to check with my husband on this.
Let's get him on the phone right now.
Oh, is he going to tell you what to do? I needed to tell him what to do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
My fake husband always tells me the right things.
I just can't betray my fake husband like that.
I really can't. We love each other too much.
Laura, if people want to contact you, maybe if they feel like they're being scammed and they want to sit down and talk about it and they live in the state of Texas, where can they find you on the internet?
They can find me at lauraryan.org. If they want to look at my Joan of Arc, now my identity's been stolen for. They can look at my TikTok account. I am Laura Ryan. If you're interested in the podcast and you want to share it with other people, you can also go to our Instagram page, My Sister's a Therapist Instagram, or you can go to our website, mysistersatherapist.com. So Virginia, if someone is reeling from being manipulated by Bernie Madoff, and now they think they want to go a stand-up comedy show in Oregon. How do they go about finding out more about you?
If you're feeling bad about yourself because you've lost all of you and your fiance's wedding money trying to pay off a man who was going to expose your affairs, you can check out my website at www.badinia.com. There I keep my calendar and stuff coming up. If I have a particularly big thing happening, I will write about it. You can also find my TikTok, which is Badinia, and my Instagram is also Badinia. If you've enjoyed this podcast, we would really love it if you wrote us a review, especially if you've recently been hired to do photographs at our mother's birthday party.
Welcome, Justin.
We would love for you to write us a review, and you can write it anywhere. You can write it on Audible, you can write it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We don't care.
We'll take it all.
If you have a topic that you think that would be fun for us to talk about or that you'd like to hear us discuss, you can write us at hello@mysisterstherapist.com. If you'd like to hire us to promote your cryptocurrency,
Your Nigerian prince scam.
you can write us at hireus@mysisterstherapist.com. Laura, now's the time of the podcast where you will share a review that someone has written us or a nice letter. Do you have anything you'd like to share this week?
A missive? Yes, I have an email here from our very dedicated listener, Shannon M. The title is Laura Has a Wife? OMG, did Laura say in this most recent episode that she has a wife? Congratulations. I hope y'all are happy together forever. Shannon, I think my wife and I will be happy together forever. We're not married in a legal or conventional way. I just refer to my two very, very best friends as my wives. And I can understand why there's some confusion. I wish I loved women, but unfortunately, it hasn't been in the cards.
It hasn't cracked out that way.
I've been trying to do conversion therapy, but it's just not taking.
What is your conversion therapy? Are you just watching the L Word a lot? And saying, I can do it.
I'm doing whatever the professionals tell me to do. Okay.
It is confusing to outsiders when you refer to your best friends as your wives, but God bless Shannon and happy Pride to everybody. In the meantime, we'd like to leave you with the immortal words of
our unofficial co-founder,
Billy Ray Valentine Capricorn. As he said, we can make a baby.
Me and you. Bye.